You are listening to the Atlanta Real Estate Forum radio show, all about real estate edition, shining a light on the movers and shakers in the real estate industry, the home builders, developers, realtors, and suppliers making it all happen.
Good morning and welcome back to Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio. I'm your host, Carol Morgan, and I'd like to recognize our show sponsor, Denim Marketing. Known as a trendsetter, Denim Marketing has been blogging since 2006, podcasting since 2011, and is currently working on strategies related to the Google Helpful Content Update and ways to incorporate artificial intelligence into sales and marketing. So contact us when you need quality original content for social media, public relations, blogging, email marketing, promotions, and more. Well, Atlanta has a river that flows through the middle of it. Seems obvious, right? Yeah, well, unlike other river cities like Chattanooga and Greenville and San Antonio, most of our population has no access to the Chattahoochee unless they go tremendously out of their way. In fact, the best access to the Chattahoochee is all these horrible factories that were built long ago. So today I have the pleasure of talking to Walt Ray. He is the Chattahoochee Program Director with the Trust for Public Land, and he's going to share with us all of the vision that they have and how we're going to transform our river and become another river city. So welcome to the show, Walt. I'm so happy that you're here.
Well, thank you, Carol. I'm very glad to be here, and I'm very glad to get to talk to your audience about all the great possibilities along the Chattahoochee River.
Yeah, it's just phenomenal. I think I saw an article or, something, maybe it was even in Urbanize Atlanta. I think Urbanize covered this. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's about time. I mean, that was literally my reaction. It's like, and this is bigger than the Beltline. It's huge. And it's something that Atlanta has really needed for a long time. So let's just jump in. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself, your background, and then, while you're doing that, tell us what PLA and AICP mean, the initials after your name.
Of course. So my name is Walt Ray. I'm a landscape architect, so PLA, Professional Landscape Architect, and AICP, American Urban Planners. And so I grew up on a farm up on the Allegheny River, and grew all of our own food, but we spent a lot of time outdoors and playing along the river. And exploring it and paddling and camping and all this fun things. And the Allegheny was really very much a part of everyday life. People talked about it, like, did you see the flock of geese? Or, the ice dam was about to burst. It was part of our culture in Venango County, Pennsylvania. And I went to college and university, and so I'm a landscape architect, and I've worked really most of my career in the public realm, helping communities understand what their needs are, helping them build consensus about what they want, what they don't want, and then designing public outdoor spaces for that. And it's grown and grown, and I finally have a 100-mile long segment to play with, which is a lot of fun. So I joined the Trust for Public Land 60 years ago, and my job is to activate and conserve the Chattahoochee River and its valley from Helen to Columbus, Georgia, which is about 285 miles. And then when I got here, I'm like, oh, that's a lot to look at. Can we focus on only 100 miles?
Right. Only.
And that is what we eventually deemed the Chattahoochee River Plan.
Well, some of our audience might not be familiar with the Trust for Public Land. So give us a quick high-level overview of the trust.
Yeah, fair question. So the Trust for Public Land, we're a national nonprofit organization. We have probably 35 offices, across the country. We work very hard to connect everyone to the outdoors, to the benefits and the joys of the outdoors. Since 1972, we have protected more than 3 million acres of public land across the country, including on many of our national parks and state parks that you all love and use every day. We've created more than 5,000 parks, trails, schoolyards, and iconic outdoor places. And we've raised about $84 billion in public funding to build and protect lands and parks and trails, connecting more than 9 million people to the outdoors. When we say connecting, we mean within 10 minutes of their home, the 10-minute walk of their home. We've introduced 9 million people to the outdoors. Really, we believe that access to the outdoors is a fundamental human need, and that all communities are stronger, healthier, and better connected when everyone is able to get outdoors and engage with their neighbors and with nature.
That's fantastic. What a great mission. Well, in your quest to make Atlanta a river city, since it's just not accessible, what's that vision? What's the big vision for that 100 miles of river?
Right. So when I was first hired, in 2017, I talked a lot about the Chattahoochee River to my neighbors and colleagues and friends, and people said the Chattahoochee River, like, where is that? Is that a river? It's a river. Is it in Georgia? It's in Georgia.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
it in Georgia? Or they just hold the nose, right? Like, well, PU, why would anyone want to be along the Chattahoochee River? Or people would sing the Alan Jackson song, way down yonder. And I met many people who believed that Chattahoochee was fictional, right? That Alan Jackson had made it up because it rhymes with hoochie coochie. No, it was the other way around. And so, while many people do have access and they do love the river, I realized really early in my stint here that too few know where the river is, have access to it, and that this region really does not have a relationship with its river. And as you mentioned, we spent generations hiding the river behind industrial uses, airports, train tracks, sewer lines, golf courses, cul-de-sac subdivisions that are gated. We've done a great job hiding our river through land use planning for the past, 50, 60, 70 years. And so we learned early that we needed the Chattahoochee has sort of a PR problem, right? And it is hard. It's hard to get to. It's very hard to get to in many places, too hard. So while the northern suburbs have sporadic access through the Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area, and there are a lot of county and city parks, in the northern suburbs, really from Atlanta downstream, I mean, good luck finding the river.
Right.
And if you find it, good luck getting in. And if you're finally in, good luck getting back out. It's really almost dangerous how inaccessible the river is. And so, the vision became, we wanted to look between Beaufort Dam, up at Lake Lanier, through the heart of the metro region, connecting 19 metro Atlanta cities and 7 counties, right through the heart of the region to Chattahoochee Bend State Park, with downstream from Atlanta, about 50 miles really. So this 100-mile long corridor, we just knew we wanted to use to introduce this region to its river. So we didn't know parks, trails. We had a vague notion of what this would be. So we branded early the Chattahoochee Riverlands before we knew what a Chattahoochee Riverland was. And in 2018, the Atlanta Regional Commission, Cobb County, City of Atlanta, Trust for Public Land teamed up, and we raised a $1.5 million planning study. We got a grant through the Atlanta Regional Commission. And we started a 2-year process of engagement where we asked this region, how do you want to interact with your river? When we say Chattahoochee Riverlands, what does that mean for you? It's Saturday morning, you wake up, you're going to go to the river. Like, what are you going to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to see, experience? And we learned early that the Chattahoochee Riverlands, we thought it was a greenway trail connecting one end of the corridor through the 100-mile region to the other, which is going to be a little bit tricky because a lot of it's built, right? And a lot of it's hidden. We thought of the Riverlands as a blueway trail. So the river is, of course, a blueway, but how do you get into, out of, where do you go to the bathroom? Where do you eat lunch? Where do you meet your friends? Where do you stretch your legs? Right. So the amenities that would get you to the river, to seeing the river and picture, actually putting your eyes on it, and then accessing for paddling, camping, all those fun things. And we also saw the Riverlands, we agreed as a region, the Riverlands would include tributary trails. So think of like the Silver Trail and the Crockett Creek Greenway, where it goes right behind all those people's houses, but it connects all those rooftops to the river. It breaks through that industrial or inaccessible barrier, and it connects people from where they live and work to where we hope to play. And so 2 years of public engagement, we did propose in 2020, we published the Riverland Study, which is a beautiful book. The Scape was our design team, and they did this beautiful.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Wow. Lots of pictures. We like pictures.
Lot of pictures. We did propose 125 miles of continuous multimodal trail. We proposed 25 new or improved river crossings, because how do you get from, I can see Duluth and I'm in Johns Creek, how do I get there without, a 20-mile car ride around, right? We proposed 42 trailheads, and a lot of parks, trails, green spaces, all connected. And that vision is all available at riverlands.org. It is it's 100 miles, so I can't just give you one picture, you won't see it. But we did propose the Greenway Trail, the Blueway Trail, all the amenities, the parks, ecological restoration, and then the amenities that ties it all together, and the tributary trails that do connect people.
Fantastic. Well, talking about connecting people, I guess the Beltline is kind of a nice model for what you're thinking and where you're going. And the Beltline caused all of this development. So I'm imagining that as you create these tributary trails and these parks and these access points, that we're going to see, development, whether it's, new restaurants or new rooftops or something follow. I mean, are you already seeing a little bit of that?
Well, it's a great question. It's hard not to draw a parallel to the Beltline. I think the Atlanta Beltline taught the region, like, this is what we mean by public realm. This is what we mean by
right.
a place for people to go, to hang out, to walk, to cycle, to interact with each other, and to get around the city in a more seamless way. I think the parallels are there, but there are also lessons learned. The Beltline it really absolutely did sort of reimagine where people want to live.
Oh, absolutely.
And it changed land use patterns. So we can't help but think that this will happen to the Chattahoochee Riverlands too. Now, the Trust for Public Land, we're very interested in the public space and the public access. We don't really have strong opinions one way or other about development.
Right.
Not pro or con, right? I don't care if there's a factory that you have to cycle by, as long as it's safe, right? I might rather townhouses or coffee shops. One of the fun things is during the public engagement, you ask people, what do you want? Really, so many people said, I just want to sit at a restaurant and have a cup of coffee or have a good meal and walk.
I know of 3, maybe 4 places you can do that.
So so when we published a study in 2020, there were in the 100-mile segment, there were 3 places. So Rays on the River, Canoe, and Chattahoochee Coffee Company off Acres Mill. So 3 places really in the middle. Where you could sit and have a meal or a cup of coffee and look. Now, as soon as we published a study, really, Riverview Landing opened in Smyrna, and they have a coffee shop, a brewery, and a barbecue joint. So
they one-upped it. Yeah, they got
doubled
3 in 1.
Yeah. So, development's tricky because the Metropolitan River Protection Act does protect the banks of the river from overdevelopment.
Correct.
Which is great. But there are areas like in Smyrna, and there are probably others in Mableton in that area that were industrial. And the landowners are saying, well, I don't know, is this vacant factory or this underperforming factory really the best use? Can't we put multi-use, mixed use, and this sort of thing? So I think development will come. I'd like to caution that we'd like to see, we do want to protect the ecological health of the river.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So let's just be really sensitive as a region when we develop how we do it. But honestly, like, people looking at the river, you can't spend a night in a hotel room on the Chattahoochee River in this 100-mile segment.
I hadn't even thought about that. That is crazy.
Yeah, you might get an Airbnb, like a nice big house.
Oh my goodness.
With a private backyard.
But and then just compare that, think San Antonio, where you walk up and down the banks of the river, or Rome, Georgia. Rome, Georgia, you can bike, you can walk, you can run. The river runs through town, and it connects. There's tons of places you can eat, sit, whatever.
All
parks next to it. All the things that somehow along the way Atlanta missed.
Yeah, so I'm sure we will welcome development, but we hope we do it in a very sensible way. And I'll say Greenville, South Carolina, the Reedy River. Honestly, a decade or 2 ago,
it was covered in concrete.
Yeah, you couldn't get to the Reedy River.
You couldn't get to it. It had an interstate overpass that ran through it. Yeah, I've spent a lot of time in Greenville, and what they've done is phenomenal.
They've done phenomenally well.
I just think I don't know. We have a huge opportunity here to do it right, which we didn't do the first time, obviously. So maybe we can learn from our mistakes and kind of improve on this. But
one of the fun things was, as I was trying to think, how in the heck are we going to get a river the whole way through this area? MERPA really did. The Metropolitan River Protection Act did protect the banks of the river. Right. There are sewer lines back there. So Fulton County has miles of sewer lines, and so does Cobb County. So that setback of development means that in a lot of places, a surprising number of places, the river's back there.
Yeah,
it's hidden behind 300 feet of for miles of woods. With the line going down through, that's a perfect trail corridor.
Oh yeah.
So between the legislative protections that we had and then the cultural protections we had, in some ways hiding the river behind all those uses, almost put like a little time capsule that we now get to go and open up, and we get to puncture.
Well, and things like I don't know, maybe I hate to ask specific questions about specific places, but I know there's been a lot of talk about the Chattahoochee Brickworks site.
Yeah.
And what's going on there? Is there some movement to provide public access there?
Yeah, there's really great momentum. Now, when we published the study, in 2020, Lincoln Terminal was about to build a tank farm on the Chattahoochee Brook, the former Chattahoochee Brook site.
Right.
And the community was up in arms, and we were too, but we were trying not to tell
Right.
people what to do,
What
because
to
it's
do.
not our
Right.
land.
I
We're
know.
trying to
Yeah.
respect. So, but we were so encouraged when the Atlanta mayor said, no, we're not going to give you a permit to do this. We're not going to give you an exception to your zoning to do this. And throughout the city spent, I want to say 27 million-ish buying that land.
Uh-huh.
And it is being, the cleanup of the land has started. The developers,
Right.
it will continue. There's a pause. The community was is convinced, the neighbors are convinced that there may be human remains on the site, and they don't
Oh, wow. Well,
necessarily.
there could be.
Yeah, there could be. So,
Could be.
back when this was a, least convict labor,
Right.
there's a lot of agreement that people
Yeah.
have died on the site and they're there. So there were some studies done. The community doesn't have a lot of faith in those studies. We'd like to help see if we can figure out, how do we really know before we move forward. But I think before we move forward as a region, and the city, I think, is pausing until we can sort of figure this out. Let's figure out what's really there, make sure that we're not disturbing anything that is sacred or that should just be left in place.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a great opportunity. It's right where Proctor Creek meets the Chattahoochee River, and the Project City's Proctor Creek Greenway is headed towards the river from Glory Park and Preserve and from the Baghead Martyr Station. So it will give great access one day. And when this all is ready to be explored and designed and built, I think it's going to be wonderful. And I think the community should be in the lead of what is developed here.
Yeah, well, it's nice that that's moving forward, even if it's slowly. Well,
Yeah.
what are some sites that are moving along more quickly? Are there some places you're excited about that
are gonna... So I'm happy to report, we track development along of the Chattahoochee River lands, and I can document over $250 million invested by the 19 cities and 7 counties, and the national parks and state parks, and the nonprofit and philanthropic communities towards implementing this 100-mile-long vision. Now, $250 million sounds like a lot, and it is,
right?
But it's a little piece here, a little piece there.
Right.
For instance, this month, Johns Creek and city of Duluth in the northern suburbs, they have a defunct Rogers Bridge, and there's Rogers Bridge Park in Duluth and Collie Creek Park now in Johns Creek. They're going to open the new bicycle pedestrian bridge connecting those 2 parks. So instead of just doing a wave across the river, you're going to be able to walk across the river.
That's very cool.
And that's amazing. So the first of many proposed bicycle pedestrian crossings opens this month. And then the Trust for Public Land will, and there's many more. I mean, Roswell's doing a lot of Sandy Springs. Like, there are a lot of cities are pursuing implementing their sections of the Riverlands, and we're so excited about that. But we're most excited probably about a project that we've taken a leadership role on. We've partnered with the city of Smyrna and Cobb County, and now the Mapleton community, now the Mapleton City, to build out the first 3 miles of Chattahoochee River lands. So on the Cobb County side, between Smyrna and going under Bethesda Parkway, which is an industrial area, and then going down to Mapleton Parkway, we're working to build 3 miles of trail park, ecological restoration, trailhead, all the wonderful things that people said they want to see. The big goals of the region are what will be articulated in this 3 miles. And we hope to have the whole thing, all the little sections all tied together, in the bridges and the ecological restoration, really done and open by spring of 2026.
That's exciting.
We gave ourselves a 5-year runway, and we're about halfway through this 5-year runway to get this all done. It is under construction. There are various sections being done, constructed. Others are being permitted and engineered. We're still in negotiations with some of the industrial users about, can we sneak behind you guys? So it's complex, but it's super exciting. And for the Beltline, which you mentioned, when the East Side Trail, people were talking about the Beltline, and they sort of kind of understood this big opportunity. But when the East Side Trail opened, connecting people to Inman Park, there was that aha moment for the region, like, aha, that's what they mean by Beltline. And yes, we want more of this.
We want that.
This in our neighborhood too.
Well, and I think as people see more and more of, the vision for the Chattahoochee and understand how it can really transform our city and give us this amazing natural resource that, is already here, It's like, I just feel like it's just a huge missed opportunity. Well,
Agreed.
how can people get involved? How can individuals or businesses or, what opportunities are there?
Well, so the more that people know about this, thousands of people know about the Chattahoochee Riverlands, but we need tens of thousands of people. So
Right.
the more people who are talking about it, and please go to riverlands.org and study the vision and see where the Riverlands is proposed near your home or near your business. Um, and you can visit. I mean, you can visit the Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area. You can see bits and pieces of it there. You can visit parks in Carroll County and Duluth and Rogers Bridge and Sandy Springs, and just get to go take a look at your river and understand kind of what it is and where it is. But then we're also hosting volunteer days. We need lots of hands to build the Chattahoochee Riverlands, right? So pulling those invasive species, they're not going to just die, right? We can actually yank them out of the ground to make room for the native species, which of course the birds and the wildlife will like more. So check the ChattahoocheeRiverlands.com or riverlands.org often, and we'll be posting volunteer days. We also are interested in showing people on the ground. So if you and your company, you and 20 of your neighbors or your church group wants to show up and get a guided tour of this section, we call the showcase section in Smyrna and Cobb County. I'd love to show you kind of what's there and show you the renderings and the designs for what will be there. So the more people we can show, seeing is believing, right? If you walk the proposed site and look across and see that part of it's under construction, I think you'll be an ambassador for the Riverlands, right? So we need all the ambassadors we can get.
Yeah, we
Oh, and
need
you can
to.
also donate.
Oh, yeah.
Riverlands.org. To Trust Public Land, we're on the hook for about $18.1 million for this first 3 mile showcase, and Cobb County is SPLOST and lots of public funding as well. But we're on the hook for 18.1. We're about $1 million shy. Not that I'm asking you for $1 million, but when I go and donate, you can riverlands.org. There's a donate tab that will be dedicated to building out this first section.
That's fantastic.
And we would welcome all the volunteers, all the visitors, and all the donors who are willing.
That's fantastic. So people can get involved. They can take a tour. They can do hands-on work days. They can donate money. They should definitely go to riverlands.org and check it out.
Yes.
So before we sign off, just remind my listeners again how they can get more information on the Trust for Public Land and then specifically the Chattahoochee River Project.
So everyone's welcome to visit tpl.org, which is the Trust for Public Lands website, and you can learn a lot about the organization and our background and what we do and how we do it. Riverlands.org is where the vision lives, and you're welcome to go explore and leave comments. You can sign up for our newsletter there, so you can send me your email address and I'll get you added to the distribution list where you will get updates more frequently. We also have that calendar also at riverlands.org, and it's not just Trust for Public Lands events, it's all the organizations up and down the rivers events. So if you want to do a cleanup with Chattahoochee Riverkeeper, or a volunteer day with us, or go to a work day with Riverwalk Atlanta, you're welcome to find those events there and know how to go to them and how to participate.
Oh, that is fantastic. So it's kind of the one-stop shop for the Chattahoochee River.
We're trying. It's not perfect, but we're getting better
there.
every month. We're getting a little stronger there.
Yeah. Well, I think Walt and I could talk about the Chattahoochee River all day, but we are out of time. So I'm going to say this is a wrap of this week's Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio. I want to thank Walt Ray with the Trust for Public Land for joining us today to talk about the Chattahoochee River Project. Riverlands.org if you want more information. On behalf of your show sponsor, Denim Marketing, I'm your host, Carol Morgan. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's show, then please go to iTunes and give us a positive rating and review. You can download all of our shows on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify. If you're interested in being a guest on the show, please reach out to me via email at carol@denimmarketing.com and let me know what you'd like to talk about. And with that, I would just like to say thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you right here again next week.
Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio is made possible by Denim Marketing, the publisher of Atlanta Real Estate Forum, Atlanta's favorite source for real estate and home building news. Denim Marketing is a comfortable fit, like your favorite pair of jeans. Denim Marketing tailors marketing strategies to meet your specific needs and niche. Try them on for size. They will work to create a perfect fit for your company's marketing program. Call them at 770-383-3360 or send an email to info@denimmarketing.com. For more information on Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio or to inquire about being a guest, contact info@atlantarealestateforum.com. Check out the radio show by visiting atlantarealestateforum.com or by listening to the show on your favorite podcast app. And if you enjoyed today's broadcast, we'd sure appreciate a rating and review on iTunes. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you next time on Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio.